Hey guys, welcome to another behind the scenes. In this video, we're going to look at some recent animations like I've been doing for the past couple of weeks. And specifically, we have the fast food one, as well as the Divide by Diamonds bomb defuse one. Starting with this one here. Now, I mentioned in the last behind the scenes, this video was actually supposed to go up last week in place of the cookies food fight one. And I'll go ahead and recap in case you missed the last behind the scenes. But I basically said that there's a video, which was this one. I didn't say at the time what it was because I wanted to keep it a surprise. But I had a video and I got about halfway through it. And I thought of a different way I wanted to do it. So I went ahead and just scrapped what I had and started over. But the problem was I wouldn't have enough time to reanimate the whole thing for the video to go up. So I went ahead and grabbed an animation that I had already made a while back, about a month ago, and finished up. It needed a couple little things, finished it up and uploaded it. And that was actually the cookies one, which this one was supposed to go up then. But I went ahead and thought of a different way I wanted to do it. I also mentioned kind of two approaches, two kind of broad approaches I'll take to an animation. The first one being I'll take the audio just like it is in the original video it came from, and just cut it down. Obviously, usually I'll have like between 5 minutes and 15 minutes of audio. Cut it down to the 1 minute to fit. Sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes a little less, but about a minute. And I'll just animate just like it actually happened in the video, just a little bit more exaggerated. And the other way being, I'll take that 5 to 15 minutes of audio, and I'll kind of grab random clips of it here and there and kind of make up a little story out of it. And you can kind of see cases of both these if you go ahead and just, look through the animations or whatever. This one was actually kind of in between. It follows basically it's kind of like a summary of the video versus any particular moment in it. And I could not figure out, there was like 5 different ways I thought I could do this video. I could definitely make multiple videos out of that original video, but I don't like to necessarily double dip, if you will, making 2 videos from a same video. But anyway, the first idea I had, the thought I had when I actually decided to scrap what I did have. Well, let me say the original approach I took, the first approach, was just cutting it down and doing it just like it happens in the video, but exaggerating the first thing I mentioned. But I thought of kind of like the story kind of thing I could do with it, and that was with like the angry boss. In the beginning of the actual video, he does a lot of that dialogue with what was his name? James, I think was his name. And the problem with that was so I was gonna have an angry boss and like Captain Sparkles. I was gonna make him look like a teenager, like fast food. I was gonna make his like skin like whiter and like give him pimples and braces and stuff, and probably do something with the glasses. But when I started editing the audio together, I realized there wasn't too much to work with there. The second approach, or the second kind of, I thought of a different idea I could do with kind of like it was like a homeless dude and like eating a burger and like getting sick, and that was gonna relate to because he would have had like a donation sign, and then people passing by would have seen that and like handed Sparkles free money, thinking he was doing a donation thing. If that makes any sense. The problem with that video was the time. So yeah, that was gonna explain basically why people were just giving him free money. If you remember from the original video where he keeps just clicking the button and they keep giving him money, that was gonna kind of be of that part. But the problem was the audio was just too long. It was like the first cut of the audio was like 3 minutes long. I was able to go again and cut it down to like 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But any further than that, and it would have just felt too rushed. And that's the problem sometimes I'll have with animations a lot, is just the idea will kind of be a little bit too complicated and too elaborate to fit in the 1 minute between like 30 seconds and like 1.5 minute basically is the range that the animations are in. But it wouldn't have really fit and would just felt too rushed. So I tossed around a couple different ideas and eventually settled on this one, which is just like I mentioned, kind of like the summary of the whole fast food video basically, with them making a really bad looking hamburger or cheeseburger, I guess. As far as technical challenges, this video is pretty simple. The terrain, I still see some people comment about that. Terrain comes right from Minecraft. Either I'll use Mineways or what is it called? JMC to OBJ. They're both terrain exporters. You can open a map and then export the terrain as OBJ, which then you can easily open in Maya. I'll either use one or the other of those. Sometimes I've actually had to use both in some cases. It's just a case use scenario on which one. They both have their pros and cons. But yeah, so I just grabbed the terrain. Now there are a bunch of custom blocks. Now with mods, like a lot of time, obviously I'll do animations where the terrain will have mods in it, like the Sky Factory, for example. Any of those videos, it's the Sky Factory terrain, so it's gonna have all those modded blocks in those, and those custom models from mods are always as .class files, which I'm not sure of any way to like decompile those and create a format that can or convert it to a format that can actually be read by Maya. I'm not sure how to do that, but in the case with custom blocks from like resource packs, those are saved as JSON files or JSON. And those can be opened. There's a lot of editors for those, for making like custom blocks for adventure maps, whatever. There's a lot of editors out there that you can get. Some are free, some cost a couple bucks. In my case, let me see, I can't remember. So the one I was using is called Cubic by the same people who did the Sfax texture pack, BD Craft. They have a one. It's like $11 or so. It's like 10 euros or something like that. Or I don't remember. It's a couple bucks. But this one I like because you can actually export those .json files as OBJs, which then Maya can open, and I can just drop them right in the software. The UVs are all preserved, so you can just plug in whatever textures they were using, and you're good to go. So instead of having to actually model these, which granted it wouldn't take that too long, they're just a couple blocks here and there, but it does save some time to just be able to export those and drop them in as OBJs. So that's what I used, and I can do that with whatever text or resource pack is with custom blocks. That's also cool because you can import OBJs into the BD Craft. What is it? Cubic? Yeah, you can actually import OBJs to this as well. I'll go ahead and just open it I'll show you what it looks like. You can open OBJs, so I thought it'd be cool. I could model something in Maya and then drop it into Minecraft. It'll like voxelize it, so it actually can be opened in Minecraft. Or you can see here, so you can import whatever your object is, and then just go to File, Export as OBJ. Where is it? OBJ. And you can see here all the things I had to export. But yeah, I think I want to try making something in Maya, like my custom model, and then bringing it in here. And then being able to see it in Minecraft could be cool. Anyway, so that's kind of how those worked. The plates I made, those only took a second. But yeah, so besides that, I mean, it was just your typical animation. The burger had a little particle emitter emitting those little sprites, but the rest was pretty straightforward. So yeah, that's it for this scene. Let's go ahead and jump into the next one. All right, so here we are in the Sky Factory highlight animation. You can probably tell by the way the viewport looks, this was a real-time rendered one. The previous animation was a mental ray one. This one was a real-time one. I mentioned in the last one, I'm probably not going to do these as often, but in cases like this, the viewport renderer works really well just because it doesn't look too different from the actual mental ray render with smaller scale stuff like this. And obviously it saves a lot of time. So you can see if I go ahead and just kind of do this, maybe turn off the grid, you can kind of see it looks pretty good for being real time. You can see because the resolution is low from the viewport, there's some aliasing there, but I actually render it out at a much higher resolution and then downscale to kind of reduce that. As far as the actual animation goes, this one was real quick to animate. Things like this with one character, no walking around. I mean, his legs don't really move at all in the video because they don't even show. Animations like these, I can just fly through in a couple hours. I'd say total animation time, like, if I cut out the parts where I get distracted or whatever, total animation time on this was probably maybe 5 hours to animate through all this. It's also a short one too. This one was a real breeze when it came to animation. Setup was a little bit longer because I had to, make all these little custom blocks, all the little wires and stuff. Not super long, but this was a pretty quick to make animation. Originally in the actual video, he's obviously crafting something, so that was would have been my original approach, would be like having the glowstone dust, or it's not actually glowstone dust, it's some other modded block, but I think it's called like glowstone powder or something, I can't remember. And actually having all those kind of things laid out like they are, but I decided to go for more like a science, as you can see actually with the book, How to Science. Where is it? There you go, you can see it there. The How to Science book, and then it has some random, if I can look at this closely, so I just typed in spam stuff on the keyboard for the back, and then much science. Wow, 11 out of 0 IGN. There was originally was gonna say This original was gonna say what was it? It was like much. I can't remember. Crap. It was gonna say something else, but it was a little edgy. So I went with something more not so. I can't remember what it was though. Yeah, I don't remember. Crap. But it was something, and it was a lot funnier. But it would have been, yeah, a little bit pushing it. So I went ahead and just went with something a little bit. Besides, I don't even know if anyone noticed that anyway. So it's pretty small in the actual video. This part's pretty obvious though, and the pages are blank. But yeah, that was it. So anyway, like I was saying, I took more of like a device like whatever approach instead of like traditional crafting thing, which I think was a little more interesting to look at rather than just having a bunch of flat things on the crafting table. These plus with the wires obviously made that more easy to incorporate, because if it had been like laid out like it wasn't a crafting thing, how would you what would be the purpose of like the wires? So yeah, this was, I think, fit much better. So he has the button. Well, after he spams the button. Yeah, so I mean, this one again, like I said, was just really quick. I don't know if there's much to say about it other than that. This one was real quick just to animate through. And then the explosion at the end. When I was editing it together the audio, this is a really simple video. I mean, it's just him making something and then exploding. Nothing too like complicated as far as like story related or anything. And it was just seemed too like too predictable the first round. You know, he does it, they blink, boom, explodes. So I decided move the explosion to right at the end, so that way he cuts it. There's that couple seconds where like, oh, never mind, it's not going to explode. So this would have been the time it would have exploded. Or in the original video, it explodes right as he cuts the wire, right? So it would have been like that, and then boom. That would have been too predictable. So I was like, hey, I'll just put the explosion at the end, and hopefully it'll catch a couple people off guard. Which, reading through the comments, I think that achieved its purpose pretty well, actually. I noticed a couple of people comment about that. So just to make the video a little bit more interesting, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess more surprising, not as predictable, more so. But yeah, that's it for this. And yeah, the explosion actually isn't in the viewport. It actually was a post thing, just some stock footage tossed on because it's only a couple frames long. But yeah, that's it for this. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. Any questions about this, go ahead and leave it in a comment. And thanks for watching.